Hi everyone, this is a real pleasure today to be making a video about what a great year we had in 2024. And we had a great year because of all of you. You know, it's one thing to be a YouTube channel, which I'm a YouTube channel now, right? And my team is just as much a part of this YouTube channel that works with me, and that's Dante and Ben and Bo and some new people that are gonna come on in and help us out with some future videos. But it's because of all of you that are watching these videos. You know, we can make them forever, and to be well received, it means a lot to us, and it's energized us for 2025. When I read your comments, it ignites my mind. And what ends up happening is a lot of times I read them at the end of the day, and before I go to sleep, I dream of these types of videos, and it makes me think of what's possible. And I think YouTube allows, and any kind of, YouTube is just like a platform for us, but what I'm really getting at is being able to have an audience and have like a two-way kind of communication. It enables me to take what I know and the access that I've been fortunate enough to have, it enables me to share it with you. And when I know there's a place for it to live, then it's going to happen. It's like I can dream of building it, and I know that there's going to be something there and something that's going to last, as we've seen over just this short amount of time, what we've been able to accomplish together. But 2025, we just have all kinds of plans and ideas, and we want to show you the year highlights in this video and give you an opportunity to kind of look at them. If you haven't seen some of the videos, maybe you want to look at them. But if not, you might notice certain ones that really got your attention and that resonated with you. Reach out to us, let us know in this video, in your comments, what you'd like to see more of, because we want to make it for you. You know, I'm at a point now where I want to pass along all the information that I've accumulated in my life and the relationships that I've had, and we've focused mainly on albums, but I've done probably like 10 times more work in film. So there's a lot of stuff there, and also my relationships with people and just interviewing them and talking about music. And we want to bring more live performances, and it's like and. My team and I talk about things all the time, but we could focus on what's resonating with all of you as an audience. But I want to take this time just to thank you, even for up to now, to have had the opportunity to make content that's related to music. And it's something that I love. And synthesizers are they're the instrument, you know. The music is what works for me. That's what moves me. That's the experience that I take with me and the emotion that makes my life better. So I think we want to get into that too. The highlight for me, I'm going to start with number one, was making the course Think Like a Synth. Simply because I've been asked a lot to make a video about the method that I use and how do I do this. And you know, it's not magic, it's a method. I learned it from my synth teacher, Clark Spangler, and I've had a lot of decades to perfect it. And I put down the course to the best of my ability. We ran cameras. I brought my son Dante in, who is the producer and director of this channel, and he's my partner in this channel. He kind of put me up to doing this. So I thought it would be fitting to have him in here, and he knows a lot about synths, but not as much as I do. And so he could kind of be a stand-in for you and ask questions and kind of drive the course in a different kind of way. So we wanted to present the information in a new way, unlike most courses where it's the instructor talking to a camera. Let us know how that works for you. It's the best way you could support our channel. The channel is a pure channel. We don't promote products. We only just tell you about the things we believe in. So if you help us in any way, watch the videos, like and subscribe, and certainly check out the course. Give it a chance, because I think we'll be able to add more auxiliary value to the course, maybe in the form of live streams where you can, if you're part of the course, you can engage with us, ask us questions, and it could be related to anything. Like I was saying, it's about music. The synth part comes down from that, right? Because we're not just making sounds in a vacuum. And so we want to create this sense of community in that way, and we can have two-way conversations. And so now I'd like to just show you a little bit of what the course looks like and how it feels. Check it out. In this video, I want to show you the sample and hold generator. It will help you navigate into the land of Mario Brothers.
Let's go.
Sawtooth or square?
The square.
Square.
Yeah. That's a different Mario sound.
It's a different Mario. Because without modulating the filter, listen, the filter's not tracking.
Yeah.
But if the filter's tracking, it talks more. You hear it's like,
yeah, it's way more expressive sounding.
Mas Mario. And then this is the speed of the sawtooth wave. That is the sample source. So it's gonna sound, yeah. You gotta get that faster. If the clock is faster than the source, there you go.
That's 100% another Mario sound.
You nailed it.
That was sick.
I can get the clock to do that. So I could replace the gates and triggers from the keyboard like that. So now I could do things like,
if you were to plug in an external sequencer, it's just a clock and then something to control the pitch, voltage for the pitch.
yeah, and they call it steps. And at each step, you can have a different voltage that can be going to either pitch, timbre, or volume on each step of the sequencer. And then the clock steps it. And that's a sequencer. Ton more to work through today. Another really big highlight for me were the interviews that we did. And I'm looking at my screen here. There's, what do we have here? 4 interviews that were amazing for me. The first one was going up to Stanford and meeting John Chowning for the first time and having a very emotional interview with him about his discovery of FM synthesis and his love for music and experimental music and just pushing the envelope and being part of like artificial intelligence before anyone even knew about it, all the way back to the 60s. That lab was at Stanford, and John was gaining information everywhere he could. So he's quite an astounding, one-of-a-kind person. So, I mean, I just learned so much from just being with him and having a chance to talk to him on and off camera. So I hope you can check that one out. Robert Margouleff, the co-founder of Tonto, producer of Stevie Wonder's 4, I mean, I can't even say greatest, but like some of the most important albums ever made. And the synthesizer that they built to create sounds that no one had ever heard. And to talk to Robert about the whole story about this instrument and how it evolved and how it changed Stevie Wonder's view of music and allowed Stevie to express himself in ways that he couldn't before when he was at Motown. Working with other musicians, as great as that was, he had so much in him that he wanted to get out, and Tonto, that instrument, allowed him to just become an artist, and then he just, inspired the rest of us forever. And that's thanks to Malcolm Cecil, Robert Margouleff's partner, and Robert for building it, and somebody would come. Check out that video. Cameron Jones, the inventor of the synclavier, an instrument that changed my life because it was responsible for me learning about digital synthesis and FM synthesis and having a computer at a time where no one else did in 1981. Working on a lot of film scores, Blue Thunder, War Games, Stand By Me, Starman, working with John Carpenter, Jack Nietzsche, Arthur B. Rubinstein, leading into The Color Purple, working with Quincy Jones, Steven Spielberg, Michael Jackson on Thriller, having the synclavier it really did change my life. It exposed me to creators that were at the top in the world. They were just figuring out ways of getting their ideas out and finding audiences. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of it, a lot because of the synclavier and because of what Cameron Jones came up with this great instrument. A hangout with Mike Dean. What an interview that was. With Mike, it's not quite a sit-down interview. It's like get up and move around the studio, and it's like, hey, what do you think about this? Check out this sound. Check out this how I send the sound to delays and how I use MIDI. And I mean, Mike produces, mixes, composes music, performs music in the studio, and performs live. I mean, he's the synth goat. He's got the credits, he's got the audience, he's got the sounds. And hanging out with Mike was just an amazing experience for me and a pleasure to get to know him and learn, so much every second about what it takes to be at the top of the game today in music and in electronic music. So that was something special too. So let's take a little dive into some highlights of these videos. These are from our best interviews of 2024.
FM was not an invention, it was a discovery. It's from nature. It was all there.
You had it in your imagination. It ended up as the sound palette for a whole new generation that did a completely different thing with it.
I never thought that FM would be part of every dubstep, and I thought, never imagined. And the discovery was in your discovery. That's really important. It wasn't like I was a math major or somebody who knew about technology. I didn't. It was absolutely a ear discovery.
And Malcolm said, we got to do something about bending notes because we can't you can't play the blues if you can't bend the notes a little bit. You can't do good R&B. You need something that's impulsive. So he took a model airplane controller, which, is a little joystick, and you could fly the plane. I guess now they do it with the drones. But we took the joystick, and Malcolm figured it out. We put voltage controllers inside the box of the joystick, and we put rubber bands around the joystick, so when you let go of it, it would snap to zero.
Yep.
And one axis was pitch, and the other axis pitch sideways, and the vertical axis was filter.
Perfect. Yeah.
And that's Stevie heard that, and Boogie on Reggae Woman is a good example of its use. But that happened at the record plant.
And that was done with a controller made from a model airplane.
Yeah, model airplane controller.
And then you can bend down, which you can't do on guitar.
You can bend down and up, yeah. Steve loved it, of course. And no one had better technique and the willingness to experiment than Steve.
Well, a lot of people thought that was Mini Moog.
No Mini Moog. I don't know how many times I can say it. There's no Mini Moog.
Just want to be sure.
During the pre-NED time, it was mostly Sidney and I working together. And with John, we were a team, but we were a team with, there were three very diverse individuals with very different personalities. We felt committed to this crazy idea of FM synthesis in this box. So we formed the company. It was formed basically to manufacture and sell the computer, which it did. It sold a number of the computer systems. But then, John and I, and we felt, all right, let's make a portable electronic musical instrument. We were just a creative team. We made a mark in the world. We came out with a product that here it is 50 years later, people are still using and talking about. And I think that's an inspirational story. It's not about me. It's about what can a young person do when they become inspired and passionate about something, and not just to become a celebrity in one song and you have an internet hit, you got a million hits, and okay, you're what? No, we worked hard for decades, and we took this budding technology, as primitive as it was, and you know what? We didn't let it defeat us. I don't care. It's 8 bits. We'll come out with an 8-bit synthesizer. There was FM, and those are some interesting sounds. Okay, it was going to be $10,000 a megabyte for the polysampling memory. And Brad said, you know what? I can sell that. We weren't afraid,
Everything sounds so good in here. Because the speakers are your instrument too in here. You designed it. Like I'm in a synthesizer when I'm in here.
Like they talk about Tonto. This is like Tonto on crack. You know what I mean?
Well, next gen.
There's a soundbite. You ever seen Caddyshack? Mm-hmm. Where he's like, be the ball.
Yeah.
Well,
this room
you gotta
feels...
be the synth.
Nice. You got the fifths. Beautiful sound.
Something new today. That's nice. Thank you.
Using the fifth. Wow. I mean, I want to do more interviews in 2025, and we have a list, so let us know what you think. But I'm sure we're going to do at least another 4 like monster interviews where I can just hang out with some other greats and pass on that information. So specialty videos. Okay, this was something. These things just kind of came up from the ground. You know, Alex Ball, who is probably my favorite YouTube. Well, he's my favorite YouTube documentarian on synthesizers. And Alex is a great musician. He's a multi-instrumentalist, but he really knows how to tell a story. And having a chance to make a little documentary about the Plantasia modular Moog from 1969 that came my way. We told the story about the great Mort Garson and his composition, Plantasia, and what an effect that album had on the history of electronic music and on people in general. So Alex was great to collaborate with. We went back and forth and we wrote some music together and played together, and hopefully I hope to do some more things with Alex. So speaking of Tonto, meeting P.Thug at Rob Rosen's, synthesizer heaven was fortuitous because we touched base a little bit later, like a few months later after that, and said, we got to do this video about this touring rig that Chromeo takes out on the road. They basically build this synthesizer module by module, and it takes about 2.5 hours or so to put this thing together, and they tour with it, and that's what we did in the video. We built it in real time, and then we kind of did time-lapse photography so you can kind of see how this thing was put together, and then we played it, just like he does on stage, and that's really something. A modular, like gigantic Tonto-sized synthesizer that they tour with. I've never seen anything like it. Go see Chromeo. A unique opportunity came my way because I reached out to a bass player in Paris, Kate Curley, who I was just a fan of her Instagram videos because I thought she had such a great approach to the bass and feel and sort of a throwback to the kind of music I grew up with in the 70s, and she just was great. She wanted to do a video. So I was really happy, and we made a 1-minute Instagram video. It's a cover of Sly Stone's In Time. So I hope you can check that out. We did it with P.Thug as well. And he's known for his abilities on the vocoder. Rob Rosen tells me that he's even a better communicator on the vocoder than he is in real life. So that's a compliment to UP and also on TalkBox. Which is a very difficult instrument. I've tried it, and maybe I'll pick it up again in 2025, but not so easy. So the next specialty video that we did was a collaboration with Hawken Audio and Expressive E. So Expressive E has the Osmos, and Hawken Audio has the CVC and the Continuum. And these are really like the state-of-the-art instruments for expression. And they're different kinds of keyboards. The Continuum is kind of flat, and it's this pressure board that you can play, and the Osmos looks more like a keyboard. And the CVC allows you to hook up control voltages to classic synthesizers and control them with any kind of modern controller. So we brought out 4 ARP 2600s and my big modular Moog that I was just talking about that Alex Ball featured on the Plantasia video, and created expressive versions of those sounds. Once I'd never heard those instruments be that expressive before, because the old controllers are just kind of like on-off switches for the most part. So really mind-bending, and I think that's the future. Maybe along with a few other, new innovations, but expressive controllers, there's the long way to go there, and I think these guys are the leaders. So have a look at that video. This is a great time to take a look at some highlights from those specialty videos.
In 1976 came the recording that has possibly the biggest cult following from Garson's eclectic career. This is, of course, Mother Earth's Plantasia, warm earth music for plants and the people who love them. The story of why this album was ever conceived is as strange as the album itself. There's even a suggestion that the album was once given away with a particular brand of mattress at Sears. Unfortunately, the details seem a little cloudy and have largely been forgotten, which is not surprising given the nature, pun intended, of the project. And so it remained an oddity of the time until it was rediscovered in the 21st century and gained wider popularity thanks to firstly being sampled by the Far Side, but probably more significantly, its existence spread through the internet, and in fact, uploads of it have millions of views on YouTube alone, and so the time came for it to be reissued in 2019 by Sacred Bones Records. To celebrate this, Moog and Sacred Bones had the original instrument crated up and shipped to them and put on a live event, Plantasia, at the Brooklyn Botanic Garden. Furthermore, there was another event at the Getty Center in Los Angeles, which, as well as music, included workshops from the famed Mickey Hargitay plants, who fittingly provided the plants for our thumbnail image.
Hi, this is P from Chromeo. I'm here with Anthony and Rob, my good friends today, and I'm gonna put them to work to show you how we build this monster chromed modular Tonto situation that we've got going on. We're done.
And it's like, it requires grunting. I mean, it's like
Oh yeah, definitely.
4 humans
Yeah.
grunting
Yeah.
to put this synthesizer together.
Yeah.
I love it. This is the front half. Now we're getting the other half. No, I'm just kidding. And we have the other half in the back. No, I'm just kidding.
It's the other half.
There's a big cheap in the tasting of disaster. In time, you get faster. Carrying beat is a waster, less he has to go faster. Ooh, daylight is all I see. Ooh, daylight away from me. We'll see you tomorrow noon. You see an answer in time. I'm a dancer.
We're doing something that I think I've always wanted to do for about 50 years, which is play expressively on analog vintage synthesizers. And we thought, let's give this a try. We have Josh Madoff here from Philadelphia representing on the Continuum right now. And the sound sources are 4 ARP 2600s. 1, if you can see it, it's up high. 2, behind us, 3, and next to Rob Rosen from Rosen Sound, 4. And over there, we're going to have to put another camera on it, a Moog 3C modular. So each one of these synthesizers is a voice that Josh is playing.
It's very simple. I mean, the idea is just to have complete expressive control. It's nice to have that envelope generator, but it's also nice to not have it and be able to just...
So his finger is basically controlling the envelope of the sound, and you can play extremely softly and extremely loud. And for the most part, you know, if you have a mini Moog or something like that, you just have a keyboard that's an on-off switch.
Right, that's exactly what it is.
Now we have a lot more than that, so that's the Moog, right?
Sounds upset.
Voice
That's
1.
the Moog, voice 1.
Moog 3C.
That is the lower ARP,
Coming in on the second voice.
upper ARP, fourth, yeah, and the
This illustrates it well, because every time he adds a new note, it's a new ARP 2600 with 3 oscillators.
That's an everyday thing.
Yeah, everybody's got those.
Oh, the ripping on there is just...
It's pretty amazing how consistent they all sound, even being completely different instruments.
Yeah. As much as like one violin to another in a violin section, right?
Right.
The little bit of difference is good, though. So I would say, you know, when these things come our way, we're going to jump in. A specialty video is not even something we can plan for, so I hope you liked those. Something else that kind of came our way that I didn't plan for was a discussion video, because we really aren't like a discussion channel, but I think I want to do some more discussions, and looking forward to your suggestions on this one. But the person that sold me the Moog modular, the Plantasia Moog, his name is Mark Barton. And wow, what an interesting person Mark is. Inventing the syndromes, inventing text-to-speech, you know, for that Steve Jobs used when he premiered his, you know, early Apple computer. And Mark makes award-winning plugins now for Cherry Audio, but he knows a lot about, like, few people know as much about synthesizers and how sound works than Mark, and also in the digital domain. And he gave me a white paper that was comparing, you know, how digital is more analog than analog. So how could that be? So we decided to have a discussion on camera about it, and wow, that got some people going. It got me going, it got Mark going, it got a lot of all of you making comments, so I think I want to do more of that. I think there's even more there, but these discussions led to some good outcomes for us. So I think I welcome your suggestions in terms of discussions, and I have my thoughts too on modern music, because I happen to be a real fan of what's going on today. So that's something I really want to dive into. And what all of you are doing, I mean, the past, you know, the people that we admire from the past were doing new things. They weren't like repeating what was before them. They weren't doing like vintage things. They're vintage now because they were innovators. So I have my opinions on that. And if you guys are open to it, I'd like to sort of open up those lines of discussions with some new innovators today and compare and contrast that. So let's take a quick look at some of the Mark stuff, though. I think you're going to really like that.
The listener doesn't care if you turned a real knob. That's my point.
They don't care what any of the knobs are.
Right. If it was a real knob or if you moved a mouse, you can't hear that.
So I think I would tend to agree with you, but I find that digital, as much as it's maybe surpassed analog in terms of its signal-to-noise ratio, which I think it's clear that it has, in terms of its expressive ability, the actual instruments haven't been developed with the same care as, let's say, a Stradivarius violin or a fine piano or something, because the end user of listener of music doesn't care what piano it was played on. But there's a reason why a pianist is going to pick a certain piano to play.
Sure.
Because what's in them and the level of expressiveness and how they feel and what they can convey to the listener is easier on a really well-made instrument. They don't have to work, fighting a piano. You hear instrumentalists, musicians say that, I'm like fighting the instrument to get it out.
Right.
And I think maybe the next, and this is for discussion with you, right, is that digital needs to develop the interface with the musicians to the next level. They've got like all the numbers and the hardware and everything in a much better place than it ever was. But still, it's not just that we just like turning knobs, it's not just a user experience. It's the music in us that gets to the listener through whatever that instrument is.
Okay, so let's say you're working with a Minimoog clone on a screen. It looks just like a Minimoog. It's got the same knobs. Is that not the same? And it makes the exact same sounds. Is that not the same experience anymore?
Is it for you?
It's a better experience for me. I'm super opinionated on this, but I find I've sold all my analog gear. I've got nothing. I mean, that's the last thing that went.
The real special one was Greg Fillinganes and I getting in the studio and trying to do like the final, view of Thriller. So we shot for a whole day and we're about on our fourth, there's probably going to be 5 or 6 total videos on this topic. But it was a fully like Thriller recreated, really relived for us because it was more of a relived than a recreation because we lived it. But Greg and I wanted to just do a really good analysis of the arrangement and from the point of view of the song, like the composition, and then how everybody came in to realize that music, because that's how music exists, right? There's a vision of a composition. It comes to people in very different kinds of ways, right? Rod Temperton was the composer of Thriller. It came to him and he made demos of it and he made an arrangement that is really what you're hearing. All those parts, that was Rod. And then how a producer came in, Quincy Jones, right? Who knows everyone and can cast people and bring in personalities. And then a recordist and mixer like no other, Bruce Swedien, could come in and capture the sounds and blend them and get rid of things and clear out space. It was quite a team, all for one of the greatest artists of all time, Michael Jackson, to sing and dance to. And he was the vision that turned that song into like a film. He had to fight for that Thriller video. It wasn't easy, and it was a year after the album came out. So all these things are, I think, why it's still like holding up. It was just a special convergence of things all happening that just don't happen that often. So our video was an attempt to sort of capture the in the studio experience and talk about all this. So you're hearing Greg and I doing that. Look for those videos. We're going to show you some highlights in just a second. The other breakdowns that were amazing were the Dr. Dre Nothing But a G thing, because I got to meet Colin Wolfe because he corrected me that the G thang sound that I did was on Minimoog and it was really on SY-77 because Colin said it was. So brought him in. We're always trying to get it right. Sometimes it's not so easy to get it right. We're relying on people's memories, and also there's a lot of things why you don't want to just blurt out the wrong thing because it can tread on other people's history. So I'm very careful. There may be more things that we discover, and as soon as we do, we want to get you the real story, and that's one of my missions. We're not here to die on any swords. We're here to pass along the music pedagogy, which means the music learning, right? That's what's important to me, so that you guys can create things for the next generation and then hopefully do the same. Be generous and give back. And the last fun breakdown that we had was Madonna Holiday. Got a lot of views. I mean, it's a cool bass sound, and I think you sometimes don't have to overthink certain types of sounds. It has to be like functional, and that sound, it really pushes the track. So it resonated a lot. Do you want to do Froggy now while you're on the bump?
Well, yes, Froggy. Where would we be without Froggy? Oh, Froggy. I am now turning on the Froggy. This is the Casio Tone MT60. I will now engage the power. Power engaged, it is on. Let us find the sound, shall we?
Okay, good luck.
Doesn't it say it on here?
It does, yeah.
Wait.
It's a lucky number. It's my lucky number.
Oh, look, here we have piano, organ, electric piano, harpsichord.
There you go.
Harpsichord 2, xylophone, clarinet, chime, oboe, guitar, muted guitar, violin, mandolin, cello, music box, funny, trumpet, cosmic tone, harmonica, and frog right there. So now, how do we
Well, you want to
get
go
to
into
number
set,
13?
see where it says tone?
Yeah.
Go into set mode, where mode is, go to
Yeah.
set mode.
Set mode.
And then you touch the key that is below frog.
Okay, that would be
And
this.
then go back into play mode, pop back up, now you're good to go.
There it is. And that's how you select the frog tone. Thank
And you do have to make sure there's no vibrato.
Yeah, we don't
Check
want
it out.
Yeah.
Hold it. Flatten him out.
Oh.
He sings if you. He's,
Oh, I see. Oh, it's a subtle
he
difference.
can sing.
Yeah. Nothing like a singing frog.
And who came up with this? I don't know. I mean, we're talking about all this advanced orchestration, and then now this.
Well, Rob was quirky like that. I don't know if it came from him or Quincy, but
I mean, Stephen Ray says something about James Ingram had one of these things, and Quincy had one of these, a different Casio, like a brown one.
that was a Yamaha.
A Yamaha.
Yeah,
okay.
because
So
I
you
remember that distinctly because when we did the first tour with Quincy in '82 in Japan, as a promotional gift, Yamaha passed out these little brown Yamaha Casio tone looking things to everybody in the band. And we were all on the bus
you
going.
got one.
Yeah. Of course, I have
It didn't have a frog, though, did it?
No, but
That's
it
a
had
Yamaha one.
Yeah, but it had, funny little sounds on it too, And James used that. He used one or two sounds from that Yamaha thing on a song that he wrote for Donna Summer,
Yeah.
Finger on the Trigger.
That's what Stephen Ray had said. He
Yeah.
remembered specifically getting
Yeah.
that brown
Yeah.
keyboard.
Yeah. Came in a little cute case, It's great.
And then this came about, like, I think it was Matt Forger. A bunch of people were saying, no, that's not it, because I was pulling a bunch of these things out of the hat that had frog sounds too.
Okay.
And then,
But they
then
wanted
once this one nailed it, and then that's it, it's the green one.
Mm-hmm.
And
There you go.
Greg played it. So here we go.
Here we go. With this finger, I think.
Did you do it with
Fine.
one finger?
Oh, yeah. Well, it doesn't take much.
I don't know if you fingered it like this, like classical fingering.
No, I use more ghetto fingering, just.
Do you remember at which point it went down?
I mean, the bass was down first, because
Yeah, they couldn't have put that
Yeah.
first and said,
Yeah.
play to this, Greg.
Yeah. No, the bass was definitely
Or you
before
wouldn't have put
this.
it down first.
Yeah, no.
Let me put this frog down first.
No,
and
that
then I'll
wouldn't
catch
have-
the bass.
No.
Direct message to me. I didn't use the Moog on G-Thang. I used it throughout the album, but not on that song. It's a combination of string and flute sound. From Colin Wolfe to me, right after we released the Mini Moog breakdown of G-Thang. So Colin's here. How great is that? Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm really happy that you reached out. And this is a great study in like how perception can lead you into thinking a sound is a certain, or comes from a certain instrument.
Yeah.
Because, that's been out there for a long time, right? And I know that it's been out there.
Yeah.
And you didn't say too much.
No, I just kind of let it slide until there was really opportunity to say something and set the record straight.
Well, thank you for letting me be that person. It's perfect. And I love setting the record straight. And I'm still glad we did it on Minimoog because I know there's a lot to learn from these sounds. And that's really the reason for doing it. It doesn't really matter what the instrument is.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to learn how to make these sounds and you're going to apply it to whatever song you're working on. I think that's the point. That's what's relevant about this. Nice. And what sound was that? What number?
That was C14.
C14
Yeah.
on the SY77.
Now we're gonna go to D13.
All right.
And that's a white string sound.
You know what? That sounds like it. Today we're gonna dive into the bass sound from Holiday by Madonna. So this is another example of a classic Minimoog bass sound that if I make one or two minor changes, it'll sound like a different Minimoog bass sound. I change one thing, a little resonance, and watch what happens. I'm gonna do a little more resonance this time, and I'm gonna change the decay time a little bit, and watch what happens. Or I change the attack time in the filter. So I'm just showing you, you can make subtle changes to these sounds and take them somewhere else. And I like to time the decay time to my track. So if I have a track that's more like this, I might make the decay time a little less than the Madonna Holiday sound. In 2024, we made two very memorable trips. One was a local trip to NAMM, to Anaheim, and we stayed down there. We were there the better part of the 3 days, hanging out with Dina Perlman at the ARP booth. That's Alan R. Perlman, ARP 2600, ARP Odyssey, you know, all the great ARP synthesizers that came from him. Dina is Alan R. Perlman's daughter, and she runs the ARP Foundation, so it's the best cause going in synthesizers, and she does a lot of educational things. So I was down there, I signed an ARP 2600 that was donated by Korg, and it was raffled off. And then I was speaking. I was on stage and just talking about, you know, things that I do, doing a Q&A. I was basically photobombed by Greg Fillinganes, who in the middle of my discussion just walked up to the stage and took the microphone. And so we did, I Suddenly Became the Straight Man for that. And it was really fun. Greg showed like his keyboard approach to playing bass lines, you know, and how what he learned from Stevie Wonder. And it just happened, like this is what can happen at NAMM. Some of the better things that can happen at NAMM was when all the musicians just kind of show up and something spontaneous happens. So that was a real highlight for me. Also, and going into the crowd, you know, just seeing everyone. And that was great, you know, talking to people and just getting feedback about the channel, telling me like, keep doing this. Because who knows, you know, we want to do it for an audience. So again, thank you for that. So show up at NAMM, we'll be there. We also got a chance to play the Korg PS 3300, which was familiar ground for me. I could just sit in front of it and I was just at home and I love the sounds on it. It sounds pretty good. I need more time on that thing, but I'm really looking forward to seeing it again, hopefully. We'll be at NAMM again in 2025. I met Jacob Brashears from Sheer Audio, and he has an amazing synthesizer, young inventor, and he has a great sounding synthesizer, so hoping to see him again. We spent time at the audio modeling suite, and we were brought there by Dr. Mix, and they're doing some of the most breakthrough audio modeling, you know, digital synthesis that I've ever heard of, like making acoustic instruments on synthesizers that sound very expressive, you know. It's just only getting better. Having a chance to meet Ruben Tilna from Alicia, who I have a very strong friendship with right now, and we love using his cubes. He created this modular system of this, you know, Class A, the best sounding studio compressors and distortion units that you could imagine, right? And we have this, well, you'll see it, right? We're going to show you some clips. Some of the best sounding stuff, and I use it with synthesizers and drums. So more on that. And then Stefan Schmidt and Tim Sund from Nonlinear Labs brought us the C15. We had a chance to play that. More on that too. We're going to be doing some things with them. We also met Josh Madoff there, who was performing on the Osmos. So he introduced us to the whole team over there, and we ended up, you know, continuing that relationship when we went to Superbooth, and we met the rest of the team. We met Rob Schwimmer, who's the best performer on the Continuum, Ed Egan, who created the sound engine called the Egan Matrix, that's for the Osmos, and then also met Lippold Hawken, who created this breakthrough instrument called the Hawken Continuum. Watch our video where we, like I mentioned earlier, where we brought the four ARP 2600s in and a giant Moog modular. So that was cool. And we had a chance to spend some time with Paul Whittington checking out the PWM Mantis. That is a little nasty sounding synthesizer. I love what it can do. And it's polyphonic and it's little and it's at a good price point. So I was really impressed with that. Great new instrument. And then the second trip that we did last year was to Berlin, to Superbooth, which was way different than I expected it to be. And that's what everyone said, but I didn't really think it would be that way different. It was really comfortable, like just the setting in a park in former East Germany. It was a beautiful park and it was like kind of designed for kids. So I loved seeing all the play areas and hiking trails and the way like a booth would just emerge out of the sort of a forest, you know, out of bushes, and just hanging out in that setting in an electronic, it was kind of a juxtaposition of electronic music and nature and people just kind of, you know, letting go a little bit and just relaxing and enjoying this beautiful late springtime in Germany. Great food, great people, new instruments, and music coming out of from behind leaves. You know, you just go somewhere and there's a DJ or someone performing something new, and then events going on at night. So that was a real breakthrough for me. It was like a combination music festival and like, you know, people that are on the inside making instruments and actually really intimately engaging with each other and with their audience. And I loved it. I can't wait to go back again this year. And also we spent time with the Moog team. So I had an especially great conversation with Gerrit Bevan about analog versus digital. That's a mind bender. He's definitely a genius and a leader in making plugins. So Moog is lucky to have him. And we met the rest of their team and saw some previews of things when we were there. Met Ruben Tilna again, continued conversations with him and new products that he's working on. And then the big thing that we did, and we haven't released the video yet, and I can't wait for you to see this video, was by meeting Jesse Terry, who is the marketing person at Ableton. He hooked us up for a factory tour, so you will see the inside of the Ableton factory. And the time that we spent with Philip von Lintel, who is the designer, and this is where it gets even more interesting. Like, it's already interesting enough, like what this new, you know, push can do, right? The push controller. But learning about their design philosophy and how it came from Braun, and studying Apple and just the ergonomics of the flow, the workflow for how your hands feel when you're creating sounds and creating speed so that you can be expressive and spontaneous on an instrument, it's deep. And it really gets into design. So it's like the merging of form and function, right? Which is what design can be. So that's a great time that I had. And I think there's some things that are going to be in that video that will help you think just about how an instrument should feel, and also like thinking about how to design your room and where to put things. It's like thinking in a design kind of way can be very helpful for your creativity. I think you're going to like that. Every time I see him play, though, I pick up another thing, you know. I try to be a fast study. I mean, that's what I've talked to you guys a lot about, be a fast study. Learn one thing. Like if I watch him do, I don't know if you want to do something.
Now, just that little lick right there, if you put it on multiple, it's like, see, it sounds too, you know.
It's the equivalent, if there's any woodwind players out here, of tonguing a note. When you tongue a note as a woodwind player, it'll articulate on every note. But if you phrase the note, you tongue the first note, and then the second note has a slight different color. So you get a phrase that goes duh, duh, instead of da, da.
Exactly. And you'll notice that sounds a lot like Stevie, right? Well, that's what he was using when he would use this synthesizer. It would be on single trigger, so he'd have more options and more control on how to finesse it, right? Which also made it a lot easier to do this.
So, Greg,
as opposed to multiple trigger, which not the same, right? That's what I'm doing.
Any favorites?
This one, sit down.
Give it a whirl.
Try that.
Okay. So again, the tuning's kind of all over the place, right? So all I would do is just turn this down, see what's going on in the first oscillator, just tune it up. And then get the... So who's that? That's the third one. So you can see the third one's on a delay.
Maybe the attack's just really low.
Yeah, it is. Now, when you call up a preset, none of these mean anything.
No, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I were to go to the attack time, I would just do that, and then now it's going to read this attack time, right? So now you can hear our third voice starts right away, whereas in the preset, it was slow like that.
Oh, yeah.
Add resonators. Wow.
That sounds amazing, doesn't it?
One note. One note. So I'm here with Jacob Rashears at the NAMM Show 2024, and Jacob has a new instrument that he just invented. And I guess, are you premiering it here?
Yep, this is the first look right here. It's the first day. It started making sound a couple days ago, so
wow.
Cutting edge right here.
I can't wait to see it. So
yeah,
show us what you got.
All right. All right, here we go. All right, here's the X filter. A little bit of distortion. All right, low pass, here we go.
Nice. Wow.
Nice, right?
Yeah.
Physical model is a type of a synthesis to emulate acoustic instrument. And we start a lot of years ago, in 2011, with the first, thank you, with the first instrument there was the saxophone. This is not possible with a sample library to play in this way, and also to shape.
It just makes you laugh.
Yes,
exactly. It's so incorrect response, but it's natural response because it's a keyboard.
Yeah, it's a keyboard, but
it doesn't sound like.
Also, you can change subharmonic or more clean sound.
That's the first one you did?
Yes, the first instrument.
So by making that transient box for SPL, then you decided to make your own.
Yeah, I mean, I was 10 years at SPL, have done a lot of stuff, preamps, summing mixes, everything. And then I founded Illusia in 2006, and we started with the alpha compressor. And this was more thinking about the best signal processing that I can achieve. And the foundation was the discrete amplifiers. And surrounded by this, I create this alpha compressor.
And that's where the good sound comes from?
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of amplifier, of components, of power supply, of everything. I compare it like cooking. If you gave someone the list for ingredients for cooking, and 10 people will do completely different. And that's the same here. If you give someone a schematic of a box, it will sound different. And this is the secret to choose the right components, to mix in the right way. But I go deeper and create my own amplifiers, my own VCAs and everything like this.
Well, because it's to taste, if you use the cooking analogy, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, we like your taste. So now it's pizzicato and like short notes up here, and you can have long notes just depending on how you touch it on any key.
On any key, or like for this sound, for example, I can trigger aftertouch here. Have staccato here.
I love all the filter modes.
Is it frying?
I don't know.
You know your way around it? Do something. I don't know my way around this thing. You like the color, huh?
Wait, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it all analog?
I think it's
Oh, it has drive.
yeah. Right?
Sounds pretty nice.
It's a nice growl.
What is this thing called? A cabin? What do you guys call it?
Bungalow is what it says on. It says bungalow dorf.
So we're in a bungalow dorf at Superbooth.
Yeah.
In Fez, Germany. And I just met Rob Schwimmer, and I walked into this room and I heard like the best playing of an electronic instrument maybe ever.
Don't look at me.
You're in a position to start to create elegant solutions.
Yep.
And you're talking to performers and composers and producers, whoever it is that's working with the instruments. And now we're starting to get into like, we're making instruments again.
That are designed for it, and that they feel like acoustic instruments, but they have the capabilities of electronic instruments. So you have all the advantage of acoustic instruments, like make it part of who you are and like get that physical interaction with it. But now you're not limited by this, but the sound that the physicality can make, thanks to the electronic instruments. But in the software realm, which is where I've done a lot of work, we already like made a lot of headway. So like every synthesizer we've released in the software realm already understands MPE, because most of them can be expressed from a touchscreen.
Yeah.
So the touchscreen has 2 dimensions for touch, and we really wanted to leverage that. And so that has propagated through all the software synths we've made. And it taught us a lot. It taught us a lot of what works, what doesn't work. And now we're looking at how we can apply that in the hardware devices.
So now we do some comparison between the 5 tracks we have processed already, and then with where we started, came from.
Nice movement. Wow.
That was the original.
It's just, it all adds up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's so much more detail now that I hear.
Yeah.
Which was
So
there
it's-
already.
Yeah, that's now the final thing now, at least. So we can also process now the full mix here.
The mastering.
The mastering. So let's do this as our final thing. So I go to the master bus here, and then insert also the same thing here.
As quick as that.
Let's use only the X filter. Let's do some nulling here. And some nice compression on top of this here.
So this is like the acoustic thing. So like you said, this is the driver, and this is the resonator. Okay, so you have characteristics of the driver. So you mentioned double reed, single reed, brass. That's what you would use these for, because it's going to create, let's say, the driving signal. Okay, and then this portion is going to be the resonating body of it. So it's going to accentuate or eliminate or cause the behaviors of those in an acoustic manner, because it's a delay feedback.
Okay, like how it resonates.
Right.
Like it would be the difference on a guitar, like getting the sound of the string, and then the resonators are like the cavity of the guitar,
Exactly.
which is the resonator.
Exactly.
Or the shape, is that correct? Or
If you take the COM filter as, let's say, like a string, I would also say the string is a resonator. And so your plectrum, or maybe if you bow a stringed instrument,
That's the driver.
this is the exciter. So the energy comes from your fingers through the plectrum to the string, and then the string has its own behavior. You release it. You don't drive it anymore, but it's resonating, and then it's resonating together with the body of the guitar. So there's a more complex system that is the coupled resonances. And that's still not the feedback that we make possible. So if you go to the guitar, say the electric guitar domain, then you have feedback coming from the amp, back to the string, and that's so you get enough energy to excite the string again, and so you get this sustained sounds without any plucking or so,
Right.
So those two sections, I hope you like in review what you see when you see all the videos kind of back to back. We're going to be at NAMM again, and we're going to be at Superbooth again in 2025. So if you see me, if you see Dante, if you see Ben, you see anyone on my team that are there, come up to us, tell us what you're thinking, tell us what you're doing. We do look forward to it. We want to engage with you. And don't forget about the comments about videos you'd like to see. One category of videos that I'm looking forward to doing more of in 2025 are live performances. And we have one in the bag right now. Look for it, it's coming out soon. It's with the great Mike Dean and a fantastic young drummer, Russell Holzman, who transcribes drum and bass solos, and he can play the impossible. So you'll see us in compliments of Rob Rosen. There'll be some monster synthesizers in this video, and you're going to hear some live music. 2024 has been one of the best years that I could ever dream of. Just to be able to make these videos and have them be received by all of you in this kind of way, it just inspires me to think of new things, new places, to be new music that's going to be coming as a result of all of this, and it's going to be coming from all of you. So I'm looking forward to continuing this train, engaging more with you. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends about the channel, because that's going to help us expand. Support Think Like a Synth, our course. That's going to help us expand and do new things. And I'm wishing you the best 2025 for all of you. So I hope that that feeling that I was talking about, like that when I go to bed, that it makes me dream of what I want to do, that I hope that that works for you in the same kind of way. That when we're touching upon a subject that has meaning for you, that you'll be able to dream about what you want to do. And that one day I'll be able to hear about that, and you'll be not just asking for something that we can do, but that you'll be telling me about something that you did. And that's when it's just all going to come together. I think we're at just the beginning stages of where this all can go. So let's do it together. Happy New Year 2025. See you soon.